In the vibrant hubs of the Euclid galaxy, the Gek are a familiar sight. They are the masters of the marketplace, cheerful merchants smelling of sweet syrup and fresh rain, obsessed with units and the 57 laws of profit. But beneath the pleasant aroma of Geknip and the hum of trade lies a history written in planetary debris and the blood of billions. Long ago, before the great genetic sabotage, the Gek were not merchants. They were the first spawn, the most ruthless empire the stars have ever known. The story begins on Balaron, a world of deep waters and emerald mists. In the sacred spawning pools of this ancient world, the first spawn emerged from a thick, nutrient-rich spawning syrup. But these were not the Gek we know. These ancestors were taller, their forms rippling with predatory muscle, their beaks sharp and prominent, their scales a deep, menacing emerald. In the first spawn philosophy, there was no room for the weak. From the moment they were porwiggles, life was a war. Historical plaques describe a brutal internal purge. The purest of the spawn would cast their smaller, weaker siblings from the pools and into the flames. To the first spawn, the galaxy was a puzzle to be solved and a territory to be conquered. They proclaimed that a rising tide was coming and that it would sweep away all opposition. The first spawn rose to power during a rare window of opportunity known as the Silence of the Sentinels. Following the Great Vy'keen Sentinel War, the robotic guardians of the galaxy retreated into dormancy. In this vacuum, the Gek Empire exploded across the Euclid galaxy. With iron fists, they claimed dominion over trillions of stars. They viewed the universe as inherently knowable and entirely theirs. At the height of their reign, they stood on the precipice of an eternal empire, a golden age built on the backs of the broken. The darkest stain on the first spawn legacy is the fate of Korvax Prime. The Gek did not see the mechanical Korvax as sentient beings, but as resources to be harvested. They shattered the mineral-rich world of Korvax Prime into a belt of jagged asteroids, an act of planetary execution that killed billions and caused the great disconnection for the Korvax convergence. In a display of horrifying arrogance, the Gek plaques recorded this not as genocide, but as benevolence. They claimed they had saved the Korvax by enslaving them. They stripped the Korvax of their bodies, melting their carapaces down to forge war equipment. The survivors were forced to toil in electronic chains, their vast scientific knowledge appropriated to fuel the Gek war machine. The first spawn feasted on the debris of a civilization, spreading a cold, calculated fear to the very outer edge of the galaxy. The first spawn fell not to a fleet of ships, but to a microscopic revolution. The enslaved Korvax recognized that they could not win through force, so they turned to biology. They infused nanite clusters, their own synthetic blood, into the spawning pools of Balaron. This was the great rewrite. The nanites subtly altered the Gek genetic code, instilling a hardwired devotion to the Atlas and a biological compulsion toward commerce and cooperation. Almost overnight, the empire began to rot from within. Dissident merchants began to question the military junta. Production lines for war slowed as the Gek became more interested in units than in conquest. When the Sentinels finally returned, the weakened Gek Empire collapsed, leaving only the Gek Trade Federation in its wake. Today, less than 4% of Gek study this blood-soaked history. To the modern Gek, the first spawn are a source of shame, an old skin they have long since shed. But a shadow remains. Deep within the colossal archives and hidden tunnels, the cult of the last spawn waits. This revivalist group wears robes of deep red. robes said to be dyed not with blood, but with the very souls of their victims. They believe the nanite rewrite only weakened the Gek's flesh, but could never truly erase the instincts written over 1 billion spawning cycles. The cult hunts travellers, seeking to harvest their pure, unwritten spirits to restore clarity to the Gek race. They maintain uncorrupted pools, where porwiggles still hunt one another in the dark. In these places, the sweet scents of trade are replaced by a sharp, violent odour that causes modern Gek to recoil in instinctive terror. It is the scent of the old blood, a reminder that while the Empire is gone, the hunger for eternal dominion still waits for its moment to return.